investigation too, but at the moment we're going to look at something a little more closely identified to what is happening online with this attack, because it has really put the spotlight on tech companies and their encrypted services. We've heard from Prime Minister Theresa May. She said that big companies that provide internet-based services supply a space for extremist ideology to thrive, and that international agreements on regulating it are needed. So as you can see, with me here is Chidi Nuanu, a military and security consultant. This is a big problem, isn't it? How do you even begin to tackle what is happening online in terms of extremist content and these insurgencies that can start online, Chidi?
So it's a very good question. Well, the first stage will be to look at the political or the policy realm. How would you define a policy that tackles not just the issue of, because there are several elements, it's not just a proliferation of online material, it's also communications. So you could follow the Chinese model, which is essentially hermetically seal your internet, as it were, so that everything comes through a single government source and invest huge resources in trying to monitor that. Or you could use what maybe we use over here, in which you have a more or less a balance of powers, where the government has given itself a lot of power under the Snoopers Charter to monitor our internet activity. We also don't invest as much resources as other countries, for example, China or North Korea or Iran, as to monitoring the internet. So it's where that balance falls is the key question.
And how much people are prepared to accept, I guess, a level of intrusion into their lives, perhaps an abuse of civil liberties. Is that something that needs to be discussed?
It's something that I think would need to be discussed, but it's also very difficult for people to understand where that line will be drawn and the implications for it. So currently now, unfortunately, Britain is maybe in a good position that it's not a country that panics excessively. But for example, in the United States, in an example, after 9/11, with the introduction of the Patriot Act, which eroded American civil liberties massively, you know, if a similar thing was to happen here, perchance a continuation of attacks week after week, there might be that appetite. But currently, I doubt there is that political or social appetite for it.
Yeah, and Theresa May is talking about international agreements. That surely is incredibly difficult to get countries with different political viewpoints and perspectives on this to agree on something like a regulation.
In fact, I would say it's virtually impossible. There is a lot of agreements currently in terms of cybersecurity, but that's looking at state actors and things like critical infrastructure. But in terms of extremism, this is because of that balance between spying on your own citizens as well as passing that information onto third parties, and also regulating private companies. It's a very difficult task.
Yeah, interesting. Chidi, thank you very much for joining us on one of the other challenges facing governments and security services. Well, let's bring you the very latest now on that police investigation. Daniel Sanford is outside New Scotland Yard for us and joins us now. Daniel, we do